It's the first week in February, and I'm thinking of getting some of my Dahlia tubers off and running. So I divided a lot of them at the end of the season, when it's a little easier to divide because the stems are soft. But if you do leave it late and the tubers and stems have hardened, then it's a little more difficult. But with the right tools and the right plan, then you can get through them fairly quickly. What I've got here is two tuber clumps. This is Auretti Bliss and this is Downham Royal, and they present different challenges. This one is easy to divide, and I'll do that quickly. This one is multi-stemmed tuber clump. So this was a tuber clump when it went in the ground, and I allowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stems to emerge and cut the rest out as they grew. So we've ended up with a very, very tight, compact tuber clump, as you can see, and no obvious central focus like there is in this one. There's the stem and the tubers each meeting the stem, and this is where, as you know, this is where the eyes will be. So that's easy to divide. This is much more difficult because we've got no obvious central focus. In fact, if there are central focuses, they're in each of these stems. So you can see this one here, you could say, is a central focus. The rest of them are rather more difficult, but we'll get through. So these are the tools I'll be using. Classically, a curved knife is what's used at the end of the season when everything's still soft. This is a poor quality one, and in fact I don't use them. But a curved knife is, if you like, what the professionals might choose to use. I've got some very sharp trimming secateurs there, which I use to cut through stems. And you will need, at this stage in the season when everything's so hard, you will need something to saw through the really woody stems. So I've got a small saw here. I've also got a secret weapon, which is a power tool, which is a power saw. So that makes short work of getting through the stems. Most of you won't have one of those, so I'll do it with a saw, at least for the easy one. So this is our Auretti Bliss. Which is relatively easy because we can see exactly the orientation here. This is a mother tuber. We've got two sort of areas that you could say are stems, but there's only one of them where the tubers are, the new tubers are coming off. So that's our centre of focus. And the first job usually with these is to make one single cut which divides things evenly into two. Taking with it the areas where the eyes are going to be. So I'm going to go through in that direction, straight through there like that. So first of all, get this extra stuff off. And now I've got a sort of free cut, if you like, there. Get so far through, and then often you can split it away like that. And there we go. So we can see a little more clearly now what we need to be doing. This used to be another tuber, so it looks like there were, this particular planting, there were two tubers planted. That's the first mother, and that's the second mother. So mother tubers, you can try and plant them, but they're usually the best discarded if you've got enough of everything else to go. So I'm just going to make a single cut there, and that's one of my tubers for planting, and that's the other. This area here, one single tuber with its eye area, so I'll just take that off in one. So that. So I'm going to discard my mother tuber. And then make a decision about which of these were to make the cut. So I'm going to make it there. I'm going to keep those two together. Hopefully we've got an eye there. And I'm going to keep those two together again with the eye area. So that's our Auretti Bliss divided nice and easily. Put those away. And now let's have a look at this troublemaker. So we can see we've got no clear focus of like we had on the Auretti Bliss with a single stem, or two stems in fact, where we could very easily see the focus and see where the eyes are going to be off the tubers. This is a much more tight tuber mass, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 stems coming off, so we've got 5 areas of focus, so to speak. It looks really daunting at the moment, and we are going to do some damage to get them apart, but once we start making the cuts, it becomes often very much more clear as to what needs to be done to take things forward. So this is definitely an area of focus here. So I'm going to make my first cut right in the middle there, and I'm going to use my power tool to do it. So I'll just see if I can separate them. I doubt it. Little crunches happening there. I'm hoping at some stage this separates away by pulling them apart. Like that. So now it's a bit clearer. For this area particularly, we've got what looks like now an ordinary stem and tubers coming off it. So that makes life easier. This is a mother tuber area, I think. I've gone right through the middle of that tuber, so I'm going to cut it away. And now decide where to divide these. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tubers attached to the stem there. And we decide whether we're going to try and take 4 single tubers, or I think in this case I'll divide this into 2 now. Again, try and go in the middle so that you've got even amount of tissue on each side of your cut. I think that those two can stay together, so I'm going to end up here with a 3 and a 2. I lost one there, so that would have been a 3 and a 1, but instead it's a 1 and a 2 area there where I hope the eyes are. So we've done some damage going through with the original cut, but as time goes on and we take more tissue away, usually it's clearer which areas can be preserved. It's got a cut through the bottom of the tuber there, but the roots tend to appear from the bottoms of the tubers, so I've found if we cut through a tuber like so, a half tuber, then that doesn't do nearly as well. You do get roots coming from above the cut sometimes, but they just don't seem to do as well, so I'll probably discard those unless they're really precious. So now where to make the second cut. I'm going to try and divide the whole area into two, so I choose an area in the middle here to make the next cut, like so. The same technique, I'll make the original and then see if I can prise. There we go. So that bit's come away. Again, making a decision where to do the next cut, and again it'll be right in the middle of the mass. So I've got two masses left over that are equal in size or thereabouts. So I'm going to go through there. Cut there from the original saw, and there's not much left there, is there, but I'll preserve that. That piece there looked after itself. So here we are again with our mass, and again we're going to go through and divide it into two. Like a jigsaw puzzle, sort of one of those, what do they call them, Chinese puzzles, wooden puzzles where they're interlocked and you have to separate them. That's exactly what we've got here. They are separate, they're just intertwined. That's probably okay. Once again, we're going to go in the middle here. I think will do for that one, I think. See, that's my Chinese puzzle. Looks as if it's all part of one thing, but in fact it's two separate things. Massive woody stem I'll cut away. And we're left just with this bit now, which again I'll cut through the middle. These need sharpening. That's a mess, so I'll pull that away. Let's see if we can retrieve any of this. Probably plant that as it is. Last little bit to do. So we started off with one Chinese puzzle which looked rather awesome to try to separate it, and we've worked hard and got through to a heap here of waste, and up here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 tubers, which we hope will produce a plant each. Success rate will probably be something like 70%, so 70% of those will put shoots out and the others just won't, even if they had eyes, but some of them perhaps haven't got eyes anyway. So that's how to tackle a difficult tuber mass for separating.